IELTS Speaking Part 2. Band 9. Forecast. Describe the first day you went to school that you remember. You should say when it happened, how you felt about the experience, where the school is, and explain why you still remember the experience. Total time, 2 minutes, 120 seconds. 1. Introduction, 0 to 15 seconds. Briefly introduce the memory and your general impression. 2. When it happened, 15 to 35 seconds. Share the approximate age or stage in life when it occurred. 3. How you felt about the experience, 35 to 65 seconds. Express your initial emotional and psychological reactions. 4. Where the school is, 65 to 95 seconds. Give a general idea of the school's location and setting. 5. Why you still remember the experience, 95 to 115 seconds. Reflect on the lasting impact and cognitive imprint. 6. Conclusion, 115 to 120 seconds. Conclude with a meaningful reflection. 1. Introduction, 0 to 15 seconds. Briefly introduce the memory and your general impression. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Early personal milestone, formative experience, emotional significance, first exposure. 2. Beginning of formal education, foundational learning, institutional environment, structured routine. 3. Emotional moments for family, parental involvement, shared anticipation, cultural rite of passage. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Formative transition. Educational initiation. Emotional attachment. Example sentence. I'd like to describe a formative transition in my life, marked by the educational initiation of my very first school day, which carried a profound emotional attachment both for me and my family. 2. When it happened, 15 to 35 seconds. Share the approximate age or stage in life when it occurred. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Around age 5, early cognitive development, social readiness, pre-literacy stage. 2. Prior to entering primary school, kindergarten enrollment, pre-primary phase, structured interaction. 3. Cultural norms of early schooling, national education system, societal expectations, developmental standards. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Early childhood transition. Developmental readiness. Pre-academic phase. Example sentence. It occurred during my early childhood transition around the age of 5, when I was considered to be at an ideal stage of developmental readiness to enter the pre-academic phase of formal education. 3. How you felt about the experience, 35 to 65 seconds. Express your initial emotional and psychological reactions. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Mixed emotions, excitement and anxiety, curiosity, emotional turbulence. 2. Separation from family, initial detachment, social unfamiliarity, adjustment stress. 3. First exposure to structured setting, new environment, authority figures, peer interaction. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Emotional ambivalence. Environmental novelty. Social adaptation. Example sentence. My feelings were characterized by a sense of emotional ambivalence, as I was torn between environmental novelty and the discomfort of social adaptation in a space completely unfamiliar to me. 4. Where the school is 65 to 95 seconds. Give a general idea of the school's location and setting. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Urban environment, proximity to home, community-based learning, local accessibility. 2. Modest infrastructure, basic facilities, early educational exposure, traditional layout. 3. Strong community ties, neighborhood engagement, peer familiarity, cultural consistency. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Community integrated institution. Educational infrastructure. Socio-cultural setting. Example sentence. The school was a community integrated institution located in my neighborhood, with modest educational infrastructure that reflected the broader socio-cultural setting of my early upbringing. 5. Why you still remember the experience. 95 to 115 seconds. Reflect on the lasting impact and cognitive imprint. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Emotional imprint, strong memory encoding, vivid emotional recall, psychological impact. 2. Symbol of transition, marked life change, developmental milestone, personal breakthrough. 3. Repetitive family narratives, frequent recollection, shared storytelling, family memory shaping. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Cognitive anchoring. Developmental symbolism. Intergenerational memory. Example sentence. I still recall it vividly due to its cognitive anchoring as a pivotal life moment, combined with the developmental symbolism it carried and the reinforcement through intergenerational memory within my family. 6. Conclusion, 115 to 120 seconds. Conclude with a meaningful reflection. Suggested ideas, general. 1. Shaped early perceptions, value of learning, routine establishment, social initiation. 2. Influenced educational identity, motivation, self-image as a learner, personal values. 3. Emotional benchmark, comparison to later experiences, anchor of growth, reference point. Academic vocabulary/collocations. Educational self-concept. Foundational memory. Emotional benchmark. Example sentence. In hindsight, that day became an emotional benchmark and foundational memory that helped define my educational self-concept in the years that followed. Sample answer band 9. I'd like to describe a formative transition that marked the beginning of my academic journey. The first day I ever attended school, which left a surprisingly lasting impression on both my emotions and my development. It was a moment of profound educational initiation, shaped by anticipation, uncertainty, and overwhelming curiosity, all wrapped into a brief but deeply emotional attachment to a completely unfamiliar environment. This experience took place when I was about 5 years old, during a time of early childhood transition where children typically move from informal play into structured learning. At that age, I was considered to have reached sufficient developmental readiness, both socially and cognitively, to handle the pre-academic phase of education. The event coincided with a significant cultural milestone, as early schooling was a normative expectation in my community and marked a symbolic step into independence. Emotionally, I remember feeling a complex mix of emotional ambivalence, torn between excitement and fear. There was a strong sense of environmental novelty, as everything around me, from the classroom setup to the rules and routines, felt foreign yet fascinating. I also faced the challenge of social adaptation, especially as I had to interact with other children and authority figures without the familiar presence of my parents. The school itself was located in a modest residential area, serving as a community-integrated institution for local families. Its educational infrastructure was basic, but sufficient for early learners, with colorful visuals, activity corners, and attentive teachers. The overall socio-cultural setting fostered a welcoming atmosphere that eased my transition, despite my initial apprehension. I believe I remember this experience so vividly because it left a clear cognitive anchoring in my memory. It represented a key developmental symbolism, the moment I stepped into a structured world with responsibilities, expectations, and rewards. Additionally, repeated retellings by family over the years have transformed it into an intergenerational memory, reinforcing its emotional weight in my personal narrative. In reflection, that single day became an emotional benchmark in my life and a pivotal foundational memory. It significantly contributed to shaping my educational self-concept, instilling in me the confidence and curiosity that have stayed with me throughout my academic and personal growth. Teaching moment. 1. Vocabulary highlights. Formative transition. Educational initiation. Emotional ambivalence. Environmental novelty. Social adaptation. Community-integrated institution. Cognitive anchoring. Intergenerational memory. Educational self-concept. 2. Grammar insights. Complex and compound sentences demonstrate cause-effect and time relationships with clarity and elegance. For example, although everything felt unfamiliar, I quickly developed a sense of comfort due to the teacher's attentiveness and the warmth of the classroom environment. Abstract noun phrases communicate mature thinking and deepen reflection. For example, this day symbolized a foundational memory that contributed to my educational self-concept. Passive constructions are used to emphasize experience over actor, creating a formal tone. For example, the entire event was perceived as a cultural milestone not only by me, but also by my family. IELTS tips. 1. Memory as a lens for reflection. The speaker uses the memory not just to narrate, but to reflect on broader emotional and psychological development. This depth is rewarded in Band 9 speaking. 2. Academic and emotional vocabulary. Words like cognitive anchoring, emotional ambivalence, and educational initiation convey sophisticated thought and self-awareness, typical of high-level performance. 3. Band 9 qualities demonstrated. 0 repetition in vocabulary across 2 minutes. Mature expression of personal experience through abstract concepts. Strong structure with consistent progression from memory, emotion, setting, reflection. Advanced connectors and relative clauses that create cohesion and depth. Confident academic tone with natural flow, even when describing childhood. 50 academic collocations with simple explanations. 1 formative transition, a change that strongly shapes early development. 2 educational initiation, the beginning of one's formal learning journey. 3 emotional ambivalence, mixed or conflicting feelings at the same time. 4 environmental novelty, a new and unfamiliar setting or place. 5 social adaptation, adjusting to new people or social situations. 6 early childhood transition, a stage of change in young children's lives. 7 developmental readiness, being prepared mentally or emotionally for change. 8 pre-academic phase, the period before formal schooling starts. 9 institutional environment, the structured setting of a school or program. 10 structured routine, a planned and repeated daily schedule. 11 community integrated institution, a school closely tied to its local neighborhood. 12 educational infrastructure, the physical and organizational parts of a school. 13 socio-cultural setting, the social and cultural environment around someone. 14 cognitive anchoring, a strong memory linked to mental development. 15 developmental symbolism, a moment that represents growing up. 16 intergenerational memory, a story or event remembered across family generations. 17 foundational memory, a basic or early memory that shaped later life. 18 emotional benchmark, a moment that sets the standard for emotional experiences. 19 educational self-concept, one's own identity as a learner or student. 20 psychological imprint, a lasting mental or emotional effect. 21 memory encoding, how the brain stores a memory. 22 cultural rite of passage, an event marking an important stage in life. 23 shared anticipation, excitement felt together with others. 24 parental involvement, parents taking part in a child's activity. 25 formative experience, an event that shapes a person's future. 26 emotional significance, strong meaning tied to feelings. 27 peer interaction, engaging or communicating with classmates or others your age. 28 authority figures, people in charge, like teachers or parents. 29 social unfamiliarity, not knowing or recognizing people in a new group. 30 adjustment stress, emotional strain during a change. 31 symbolic milestone, a big step that has emotional or cultural meaning. 32 personal breakthrough, a moment of sudden growth or clarity. 33 childhood imprint, a strong memory left from early years. 34 narrative reinforcement, telling a story repeatedly to to make it memorable. 35. Contextual awareness, understanding the situation or environment. 36. Emotional recollection, a memory tied to strong emotions. 37. Perceptual clarity, remembering details vividly and clearly. 38. Transitional stage, a period of change from one phase to another. 39. Self-perception development, growth in how one sees themselves. 40. Routine establishment, creating and following a regular schedule. 41. Educational orientation, becoming familiar with the learning environment. 42. Family memory shaping, how a family tells stories that influence identity. 43. Cognitive emotional blend, thoughts and feelings connected in memory. 44. Structured socialization, planned ways to help people interact. 45. Emotional memory trigger, something that brings back strong feelings from the past. 46. Introductory, exposure, the first experience of something new. 47. Adaptive behavior, changing how one acts in new situations. 48. Institutional adjustment, getting used to a formal setting like school. 49. Supportive transition, a change that's made easier by help from others. 50. Identity shaping moment, an event that helps form one's sense of self.